In the 19th century, King Leopold II of Belgium presided over a horrifying chapter in the Congo Free State, a period often likened to the Holocaust, with Leopold drawing comparisons to Adolf Hitler. This brutal regime, from 1885 to 1908, was established in sub-Saharan Africa, a region still largely unexplored as other European powers had only claimed coastal territories. Ironically, it was dubbed the Congo Free State, despite its inhabitants enduring anything but freedom. In a bid to acquire the Congo in 1879, King Leopold II enlisted Henry Morton Stanley to survey the Congo River basin. Stanley, a journalist and explorer who shared Leopold's vision for economic gain in Africa, went on to establish trading outposts, fortified military installations, and infrastructure, including roads and bridges. Moreover, he negotiated treaties with over 500 Congolese chieftains, who, in return for their marks on these cryptic agreements, unwittingly accepted the flag of the Congo Association in exchange for meager trinkets, bags of salt, and cloth. During the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, Leopold seized a political opportunity to solidify his control over the Congo River basin. It was an era when European explorers were swarming into Africa, each seeking to stake territorial claims on behalf of their respective nations. Termed the Scramble for Africa, it marked the continent's division among major powers. Employing cunning diplomacy, Leopold secured the Congo River basin for himself, subsequently rechristening it the Congo Free State, becoming an absolute ruler of a territory almost 80 times the size of Belgium. This period coincided with a confluence of technological advancements that would bolster Leopold's dominion. He now had access to tools and resources not previously available to earlier colonists, greatly enhancing his control over a land inhabited by 20 million Africans. Modern weaponry played a pivotal role, replacing primitive muzzle loaders with new breech-loading rifles, like the Albini. These arms offered greater range, accuracy, and employed quick-loading waterproof brass cartridges, making them far superior to traditional weapons like bows, arrows, and spears. Another critical advancement lay in medical knowledge, given the Europeans' vulnerability to tropical diseases. By 1900, they had discovered the utility of quinine as a defense against malaria, and a better understanding of diseases such as malaria and hematuria had emerged. Some researchers were even capable of treating yellow fever and various other maladies, thereby reducing the European mortality rate. Not to be underestimated, the paddle steamboat emerged as the final, crucial tool. These vessels facilitated a more efficient and rapid voyage from Europe to Africa, allowing for consistent travel schedules and conveying waves of Leopold's agents into Africa. Though Leopold initially justified his involvement in the Congo by referencing the activities of Arab slave traders, he disregarded the fact that slavery had been banned and outlawed in the final decade of the 19th century. John Boyd Dunlop's invention of inflatable rubber bicycle inner tubes in 1887, coupled with the burgeoning popularity of automobiles, led to a surge in global rubber demand. This rubber boom proved a financial boon for the king, who, burdened with significant debts from his Congolese investments, needed to turn the enterprise profitable. Harvesting rubber from trees, a quicker and more efficient process than extracting it from vines, increased output and, consequently, profits. In a bid to maximize rubber extraction, Leopold implemented a labor policy criticized by many as the red rubber system, alluding to the African blood spilled during this period. This involved robbing natives of their livestock and grain supplies, attacking them, and holding their women and children hostage. If a district's chieftain met the required rubber quota, women and children were released back to their families, albeit at a cost of a couple of goats apiece. Those who refused to work often faced dire consequences, including the death of their wives. The measures to extract rubber under harsh conditions and minimal expenses were enforced by agents Leopold dispatched to the Congo. In 1885, Leopold formally unified these agents and mercenaries under the force public, tasked with maintaining order. This force enforced the brutal rubber quotas using modern weapons and the notorious chicote, a bullwhip made from hippopotamus skin. employed for the most trivial infractions or sadistic pleasures. As if beatings and abductions were insufficient, forced public soldiers often resorted to the amputation of natives' right hands as punishment for failure to meet impossible work quotas. If a native was shot by a soldier, they had to cut off the victim's right hand to prove the bullet wasn't wasted, as ammunition was expensive. Soldiers even used their bullets to hunt wildlife or save them for potential mutinies. If a villager tried to escape, soldiers would gather their whole family and amputate their hands or feet, and sometimes their noses and ears as well. While these mutilations sometimes happened to the living, they were often carried out on those who had been killed. Survivors pretended to be dead until the soldiers left, seeking help afterward. In some cases, the soldiers tried to shorten their service with the force public by presenting extra severed hands to European post commanders. This horrifying practice led to more unnecessary mutilations, and hands became a kind of currency for the guards, sometimes more valuable than rubber. An administrator named Captain Leon Rum used severed heads of at least 21 Congolese as decorations around his house's flower beds, though this was not particularly unusual in Central African society at the time. In another horrifying incident, forced public soldiers tied 10 villagers in a fishing net, weighed down with rocks, and drowned them in the river. King Leopold did not like the idea of cutting off hands as it hindered labor, and he was reported as saying, "Cut off everything else but not their hands. The one thing I need in the Congo is hands." The exact death toll is not known. The collective population decline can be attributed to a combination of factors, as supported by multiple closely connected sources. Primarily, it resulted from the extensive genocide of the native population, accompanied by severe issues like hunger, exhaustion, and exposure to the elements. Additionally, diseases played a significant role in this tragic chapter. Some diseases occurred naturally, like the outbreak of sleeping sickness, transmitted through the bite of the tsetse fly. Symptoms included fever, headaches, and joint pain, eventually leading to hallucinations, comas, and, sadly, death. In contrast, Europeans introduced various diseases, including venereal diseases and smallpox, which further contributed to the suffering of the Congolese people. Finally, the declining birth rate was a consequence of the overall population decrease during this harrowing period. The population, once totaling around 20 million before Leopold's arrival, was nearly halved. Figures like Edmund Dane Morel and Mark Twain played vital roles in bringing these atrocities to the world's attention, shining a harsh light on the horrors endured during Leopold's ruthless reign in the Congo Free State. The brutal rule of King Leopold II. In the Congo during the late 19th and early 20th centuries remains a topic of discussion and debate in modern times. The widespread understanding of the atrocities committed in the Congo Free State under Leopold's rule has grown, with scholars, activists, and the general public continuing to study and discuss these dark historical events, shedding light on the immense suffering and exploitation that transpired. These discussions revolve around profound moral and ethical questions, delving into the morality of his rule, the ethical responsibilities of European nations, and the enduring legacy of colonialism. Some contemporary conversations focus on reparations and justice for the descendants of those who endured such horrors. There are calls for restitution and compensation as part of this dialogue. Moreover, modern discussions extend to the broader impact of European colonialism on contemporary Africa. The lasting legacy of colonialism, including its influence on political, economic, and social structures, remains a relevant and contentious topic. These discussions underscore the importance of education and awareness as a means to prevent the repetition of such atrocities in the future. They serve as a reminder of the profound significance of understanding the past, both in terms of historical injustices and as a means to avoid repeating them in the modern world. The conversation around Leopold's rule in the Congo also initiates broader dialogues about contemporary human rights abuses, emphasizing the need for vigilance against modern-day atrocities, both within and beyond Africa. The enduring impact of King Leopold II's genocidal rule in the Congo during the late 19th and early 20th centuries is still deeply felt in modern-day Congo, profoundly shaping the nation's historical memory and its current socio-political landscape. The atrocities committed under Leopold's regime have left indelible scars on the Congolese people, reverberating through generations and instilling a collective memory of brutality and suffering. Leopold's ruthless exploitation of the Congo's vast natural resources, particularly rubber and ivory, established a blueprint for resource extraction that continues to impact the country's economy and politics. This legacy has contributed to ongoing issues of corruption, political instability, and a lack of economic development, impeding the nation's progress. The institutions left behind by Leopold's rule were marked by profound weaknesses, which persist in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, today. These institutional deficiencies have hindered the country's ability to build robust and accountable governance structures, leading to ongoing challenges in maintaining political stability and providing essential public services. Additionally, the arbitrary colonial borders imposed during Leopold's rule have fueled ethnic tensions and conflicts in modern times. The legacy of these colonial borders has contributed to the DRC's ongoing struggles with internal conflict and instability, as different ethnic groups and regions vie for control and resources within a nation often seen as a mere colonial creation. The human rights abuses established during Leopold's era continue to ply with the DRC in the present day. These persistent issues include extrajudicial killings, forced labor, and sexual violence, perpetuating a cycle of violence and suffering that has proven challenging to break. In contemporary Congo, efforts are underway to address these historical legacies and strive for a more just and prosperous future. The nation's journey toward healing and progress is, however, complicated by the profound and lasting shadow cast by Leopold's brutal rule. International awareness of the horrors of this period has sparked global discussions and activism around human rights and the consequences of colonialism, contributing to broader conversations about equity, justice, and the need to confront historical injustices. The impact of Leopold's genocidal rule in the Congo endures as a complex and multifaceted part of the nation's identity, a poignant reminder of the enduring legacy of history in shaping the present. Tell us what you think in the comment section. Like and share the video, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our African videos. It's the best way to support us.